The castle lord sighed, "Forget it, forget it. If you think about it any longer, I don't know how many people I have to feel sorry for. This little baby doesn't know where he came from, his martial arts are sometimes high and sometimes low, and he can even beat them. It's really weird. Can you see the origin of his martial arts, master?" he asked the crowd. Master Mo pondered for a while and said, looking at his palm, "It is a bit like the Shaolin faction's Ruozen palm, and like the Kunlun faction's Broken Bone palm, but unfortunately the confrontation time is very short, and his subordinates can't be sure." General Pipe, according to his subordinates, the moves used by this kid are a bit like the great compassion palm of Mr. Ouyang, the famous martial arts Huanya Yuki in recent years. Because his subordinates have seen this kind of palm, this little doll is similar to Mr. Ouyang no matter whether he shoots or attacks. The castle lord sighed, "I hope none of these three aspects are true, otherwise our flying dragon castle will be in big trouble." The housekeeper Lin Bai had already walked up and bowed down and said, "Lord of the castle, his subordinates know his origin." The castle lord's eyes lit up and said, "You know, let's get ready." Lin Bai said, "The lord of the castle, when his subordinates picked him up the mountain, he called himself all-encompassing little overlord Yang Xiaoxie, and he came to find Miss to take revenge." The castle lord said curiously, "Miss, when did this girl go outside to make enemies with others?" If there is no special matter, the castle owner will not let his daughter trespass around. Even if he wants to go out, he must agree, otherwise his subordinates will also reciprocate. But Wei Yun knows that his daughter has not left the castle recently. How can he offend this young man? Maybe he has forgotten that this is a few months ago. Lin Bai said, "My subordinates don't know much, but Miss came back from riding a black dragon foal outside the gate a few months ago, and the tail of the black dragon foal was cut off by this small watch." Only then did the castle lord come to his senses, and he said, "It turns out that this is the case. Why didn't you say it earlier? It seems that this grievance may be in trouble. Go and invite this girl Yaokan, I have something to ask her." Wei Yuxuan thought that outside the people had already ignored the eldest lady of Flying Dragon Castle, cut off the tail of the black dragon horse, and now he came up to pick it up. This is no longer an ordinary martial arts revenge, but a factional dispute. He suspects that it is a good thing done by the Shinwu Gate, but unfortunately he doesn't know what kind of person Xiaoxie is, otherwise he would have to die of laughter. And there are people in the world who offend the world's largest fort Flying Dragon Castle for the sake of the Battle of Wool. No one would believe such a thing, but it is true. Lin Bai hurriedly said, "Castle Master, Miss Shi." The castle lord said, "Isn't Miss Steward Lin here?" Lin Bai said, "No, Miss Shi." "It doesn't matter what the hell you say." Lin Bai said in a sigh, "Lord of the castle, Miss, her hair has been cut off by this small watch, and she is crying in the room." Lin Bai was a little afraid of being blamed, and his body trembled slightly. When the castle lord heard this, he did not blame Lin Bai, but instead looked at the sky quietly and muttered, Yang Xiaoxie, you are really full of evil spirit. You came to this castle, in order to find Yaokan to vent your anger, and we actually forced him into the snake pit. This account is difficult to calculate." He was thinking of some clues about what Yang Xiaoxie had done, hoping to find some clues from it, but he was disappointed. Soon the castle lord had given up thinking about it again, and he said, "Steward Lin, what about the two children, the human dragon and the human tiger? Lin Bai said, Lord of the fort, the young master of the two stands will go to the mountain early in the morning to hunt. The castle lord said, when they come back, tell them not to run around for the past few months, so as not to get into unnecessary trouble. Lin Bai said, yes, the castle master, the subordinates will tell the little castle master. The lord of the castle turned to everyone and said, brothers, the enemy has been removed, so go back and rest. All the guards said in unison, Lord Xiaobao. They dispersed, and only 6 famous generals remained. The lord of the castle said, Steward, you should also go down first, I will ask the girl to see what is going on, and we will discuss countermeasures later. Yes. The 6 masters also bowed and left. The castle lord walked to his daughter's boudoir, only to hear a desolate cry had come. He stepped forward to open the door, stepped into the room, and saw his daughter's hair cut messily, and his heart was also sad and said, Cheener, don't be sad, come, Dad, take a look. When Wei Yaokan saw her father coming, she cried Dad, and cried even more sadly on her father. Wei Yuxuan comforted her and told her, don't be sad, Cheener, my father has killed him to avenge you, don't cry and don't be sad. Wei Yukan cried for a long time, and gradually stopped. When she heard that Yang Xiaoxie was killed, her hatred was reduced a lot, and her crying stopped. Wei Yuxuan said, Cheener's father killed him for you, you should be happy. Wei Yaokan hated and said, Dad. Qin saw that he hated him to death. You don't know that he is really bad. First cut off the tail of the black dragon, and then ran here too. My hair. As soon as she talked about her hair, she thought, Dad, how is my hair cut? It must be ugly to death. She left Wei Yuxuan's chest, stroked her hair with both hands, and wished to cover her entire head, and almost cried again. Wei Yuxuan comforted, Cheener, don't be sad, wait a minute, ask the maid to repair it, you will still be so beautiful in a month, you can find a silk scarf to cover your head this month. Wei Yaokan said quietly, I have to wait for a month. I hate him for so long. Wei Yuxuan smiled, a month passes quickly. In this month you can learn something such as calligraphy and embroidery, isn't it great? By the way, Cheener, do you know where that little watch came from? Where does he live? Wei Yuxuan turned around for a long time before turning to the topic. Wei Yaokan said, Dad, I only know that his name is Yang Xiaoxie. Last time I came to the town not far from the Lejun temple outside the gate to fight with him, I injured him with a sleeve arrow, and he also cut off the tail of the black dragon. His flying knife is so powerful, I can't catch it. She didn't say that the knife almost shot her hip. Wei Yuxuan asked, did he chase you back then? Wei Yaokan replied, I also think it's strange. The black dragon can be said to be the best in the world when he runs. I thought I would be able to get rid of him, but he was very evil, and he actually caught up and cut off the black dragon's tail, Dad. He seems to be running faster than the black dragon. Wei Yuxuan was shocked and said, is there really such a thing? Wei Yaokan said, otherwise, how could the black dragon's tail be gone at this time? She felt that Yang Xiaoxie was so funny, but it was a pity that the person was dead. Wei Yuxuan nodded and said, maybe, Cheener, do you still know any trivial things about him? Wei Yaokan shook her head and said, Dad, I have only met him twice, and we have been fighting both times. I only know this. Wei Yuxuan looked at it and asked again. He couldn't come out of nowhere. He said, Qiner, you just have a good rest here, wait for your brother to come back. I asked the two of them to accompany you. Don't go outside to avoid accidents. The rivers and lakes have been very unstable recently. Dad is afraid that you will lose something. You can also rest for a few days. Dad still has something to do. Will I come to see you tomorrow? Wei Yaoqin also knew that her father had a lot of opportunities, and it was rare to have time to take time to see her. She said, Dad, you are busy. Qiner will not go out. Qiner will not send it. Wei Yuxuan patted Qiner on the shoulder again, and then walked out of the door. In the corridor, Wei Yuxuan thought as he walked, Yang Xiaoxie is outside the gate. Are there those masters outside the gate? Could it be the Tian Shan faction? But his martial arts path is not like it. Is his flying knife from the flying knife gate? It's not right. The flying knife gate has not appeared in the rivers and lakes for more than 100 years. Whose disciple would that be? And he ran faster than the black dragon. Could it be that he is a person from the floating flower palace? No, there are only women in the floating flower palace. He can't be a person from the floating flower palace. Thinking about it, Wei Yuxuan's whole head was already unbearably swollen. It's really an evil sect. It's a pity that he died, otherwise you can ask him for an explanation. In contemplation, Wei Yun had already walked into the front hall to do business. And in the snake pit. As soon as Yang Xiao fell into the snake pit, he screamed, and he didn't know what was going on, and the trap door above was closed. As soon as he heard a fishy smell and a hissing sound, he already knew that it was full of poisonous snakes.